Okay, for this design challenge, you are going to be creating a musical instrument. So, at this point, you've probably learned a little bit about sound waves, and today you are actually going to be an engineer. And in this project, you will be an engineer to solve a problem. Now, engineers are creative problem solvers, they work in teams and don't give up. You might work in a group and you'll be going through the engineering design process to solve your problem. And the process can look something like ask, research, plan, build, test, and share. And remember, criteria is a guideline for a design project. Your group is required to meet the criterions to complete the project. And design challenges also have constraints. Now, the constraints are the limitations or restrictions. And examples of this can be time and resources. So make sure you follow the constraints of the project. So, what's the problem with your musical instrument? Well, you're at a friend's house and they are practicing for the school talent show. They are nervous to perform, so they ask you to be a part of the band. You know how to play multiple instruments, but didn't bring any of them with you. You see objects around the house to build instruments, so you decide to design one to practice with. Your musical instrument must be used from everyday objects and used to make music for 1 minute without breaking apart. So that's your design challenge. But remember, sound energy are waves that move in repeating patterns. They can be big or small, soft or loud sounds. Now, how do you create an instrument that produces the sound of music? Remember, your design has three criterions. First, your musical instrument must be built with items from around the house or the classroom. Next, it can be any type of musical instrument. And lastly, you must be able to play music for 1 minute without your instrument breaking apart. And your design is going to have a few constraints, and this may look different depending on your teacher. So look to your teacher for the different constraints. So as you go into the first step, it's going to be ask. In this step, you will be individually writing down the problem and that you are trying to solve. How will you accomplish it, and how do you know that it's successful in this project? Next up, you will be doing some research. Look at some ideas about music and sound waves and see what kind of instruments can you create. In this next step, you are going to be creating a plan. Create a design and write down steps that you need to complete to be able to build your instrument. And you can make a sketch, list your materials, and write down the steps of building it. So when it is time to build, you have exactly what you need to build your instrument. In the next step, you are going to be testing your instrument for 1 minute. You will play in front of your class, in front of your group, and let's see if it holds up for 1 minute. And lastly, you will share your instrument to the class. You may also think about what can be improved and what design decisions were actually effective. You probably will be graded based on a rubric. And this rubric is going to look at how well your group worked well together and how could you explain the steps of the engineering design process that we just went over.